Hello, welcome to first year BTech course of Guru Nanak Institute of Technology, Kolkata. I'm Dr. Indrajit Bose and I shall be your course instructor for this session. This paper is entitled English with a paper code of HU101. In this paper, I shall be guiding you in the basic forms, genres, and modes of communication, and we shall be looking at communication from the perspective of a globalized world. This is module 4 of the paper and is entitled Professional Writing. Throughout this throughout this module, I shall be looking at the different forms and types and formats of business writing, especially at the workplace, and how we can become more effective writers in workplace communication. This lecture focuses on the second part of business letters. So we shall be looking at other types of letters apart from sales and inquiry letters, which we looked at in the first part, and other business letters, which is lecture 17 in the series. Now, in this lecture, I shall be looking at the writing of business letters per se. We should be looking at letters of complaint, adjustment letters, and job application letters. These are some of the most important types of letters, especially as far as interaction with customers and dealing with customer complaints is concerned. So complaint and adjustment letters are very, very important. And job application letters, of course, are crucial in the recruitment process. So these are all vital letters for us to understand and to know. Let us explore something more about them. Now, why are these business letters written, basically? They are written to expedite business communications or interactions with clients, customers, and others. You see, this whole machinery of business or this process of interaction with others would not be able to be sustained without the letters or other forms of communication taking place between them. So mostly we have either letters or telephonic interaction. Now, we know that customers and clients may be spread out in different parts of the country or even other parts of the globe. So always they may not be a phone call away, or except in emergencies, we may not be able to make a phone call, but we can send a letter always or send an email across to them. And of course, for documentation purposes, we know that letters are very, very important. So in order to expedite contacts and sustain contacts with our business clients, customers, suppliers, vendors, we need to have these business letters. Also, to channelize inquiries through proper and official channels, they are very, very important. For example, in a business organization, there is a hierarchical setup. And if somebody at the lower level of the hierarchy wishes to contact somebody at a higher level, then they can formally do so by sending a letter. Or the letter, in other words, is the best means of communication or interaction between people at various levels of the official hierarchy. Also to stipulate specific requirements in writing. So merely speaking or getting something across to somebody over phone by giving a verbal message, it may not be enough. So exactness or clarity counts for a lot. We have to specify, you see, in business. So in business dealings or interactions, specification of numbers, quantities, amounts is very, very important. So therefore, written communication obviously scores over oral communication of any type. So that's very important. In that respect, the letters are very useful. And also to maintain a documentary record of the transaction that has taken place. Again, these transactions are a part of the ongoing business interaction process. So we may need to refer back to them or to find copies of them. So in that case, obviously maintaining a record would be of vital importance. So therefore, For these various reasons, business letters are written. Now, what about the transmission channels? The transmission channels can be obviously in writing or you know sending hard copies of letters by mail, or they can be electronic copies sent by email as well. So these are the various reasons why we keep writing business letters. But of course, we have to explore more about the different types of letters from now. We have already looked at sales letters and the important role that they play in marketing or advertising of new products particularly. And we have also looked at inquiry letters. Now we shall look at the other types of business letters. Okay, to begin with, we are going to look at letters of complaint or complaint letters. Now, why are complaint letters written? Very simply, complaint letters are written in order to express the customer's dissatisfaction or grievance with the purchased products or services. So they are also known as claim letters. Now there's a reason why they are called claim letters. Can you say why that is? Okay, let me say it for you. They are called claim letters because the customer, or rather the aggrieved customer, is making a claim to the company in this case, or asking for some compensation in lieu of the damaged product or malfunctioning product or improper service, or asking for some financial compensation, as the case may be. So that is why these letters, because they are making a claim on behalf of the customer to the company, they are also known as claim letters. Now, there can be various reasons why these claim letters may be written. They may be written due to product defects or manufacturing defects or problems, or they can be written due to some kind of product malfunction which is discovered after the customer uh, takes the product out of packaging, or they may be written due to overcharging of the customer or billing errors of some kind, or due to delays in shipment or wrong goods being supplied, or errors in quantity, or mismatching goods or poor quality goods, or they can be due to unsatisfactory or poor quality services. Now, whatever be the reason why these letters are written, the specific details, the exact and specific details of the problems which they are speaking about need to be provided, together with some documentary evidence. So, if you have got goods which are supplied late, then you have the challan or bill which the transporter has given to you, indicating the time and the date on which they were supplied. You also have your original purchase order in which the date of supply or tentative date was given. So you have to quote those or give copies, enclose copies of those when you are giving the complaint or making the complaint. So please be specific as far as possible. Now there are 2 points to note over here. You or anyone who is the aggrieved customer in this case might be very annoyed when he or she is writing the letter of complaint, but in order to sustain business relations, we do not express the annoyance directly in the letter of complaint. So try not to write as if you are in the heat of the moment. So tone down and focus on the specifics. Rather, speak precisely about what is the nature of the problem and also about the documentary evidence which you are enclosing, which proves that it is really a problem, and also how it is inconveniencing you. Say a few lines about how it is inconveniencing you. So this is the way in which you are supposed to write. You do not express the dissatisfaction in so many words. I mean, obviously you do express it, but in a moderated fashion. not in a tone of direct annoyance. So the tone of complaint letters will still be polite and formal. Now, let us look at the parts of this letter in greater detail. Now, these are some sample subject lines of complaint letters. Let us read them to find out how we draft the subject lines. Complaint regarding non-receipt of 200 crates of Himachal apples ordered by PCN 3034 on 6/4/19. Complaint about excess charge of Rs 200 in final bill dated 25/18. Complaint regarding manufacturing defect in BPL vacuum cleaner purchased on 12/6/19. Complaint about malfunctioning Bosch washing machine purchased on 12/7/19. So if we look at them, they're all written regarding various problems or complaints. So if we look at the third one, it is about a manufacturing defect in a vacuum cleaner which has been purchased. And the last one is about a malfunctioning washing machine. So one is talking about manufacturing defect, other is talking about some product malfunction. Both are about machines which are not functioning properly. Now the first one obviously is about delay in the shipment of goods. Complaint regarding non-receipt of 200 crates of Himachal apples ordered by order number so and so. So the delay in the shipment is being highlighted in this case. And the second one is about excess in billing. So excess charge of Rs 200 in the final bill. Well, the bill number is not given, but the bill number should also be given over there. So notice that first and foremost, in the subject line, which is a single line and focused and very, very precise, we talk about what is the nature of the complaint. Is it a product malfunction? Is it unsatisfactory service? Is it about missing goods? Is it about delayed goods? What is it? And we also give the specifics, like 200 crates of Himachal apples, 200 rupees 200 in the final bill, or manufacturing defect in the BPL vacuum cleaner, like so on. So we talk about the nature of the complaint specifics in brief, of course, because it's a single line statement basically. And we give the other relevant details, like the order number in the first case. The bill number should also be given in the second case. And the date of purchase is given for all the other malfunctioning goods. So the subject line is very, very specific and precise and talks about the product malfunction or unsatisfactory service or some other kind of grievance, together with the specific details and the date of purchase. Now, next we come to the opening and body of this letter. Again, I'm reading out from a sample which has been given over here. This is to inform you that the BPL vacuum cleaner purchased on 12/6/2019, bill number 23J19, has a manufacturing defect, as a result of which it is unable to perform its cleaning function. So this is the introductory paragraph, which gives the introduction or states the introduction to the subject by talking about the specific problem or grievance about which the customer is writing this letter. Also note that apart from that, the problem being referred to, the specifics of purchase, item name, and the date, the bill number are all indicated. Now, more details are then given in the remaining part of the letter, the body of the letter. Now, again, I'm reading. When the vacuum cleaner is switched on, it is observed that the LED indicator is glowing red, but the machine is unable to operate. As this probably indicates some manufacturing defect, it is my earnest request that you immediately look into this matter. So what is happening over here? The nature of the problem needs to be elaborated. Now, again, there are two reasons behind this. One is that obviously in all business communication, we are very, very specific and to the point. This is something that I have already mentioned before. The other thing is that in this kind of letter is being written so that the company in turn can act on this problem. And how will the company possibly act unless you give the specifics or the nature of the problem? So therefore, it's not just enough to say that the vacuum cleaner has a manufacturing defect. If I just keep harping on that point, it doesn't make it clear. So what is the way in which it is manifested? This kind of defect or problem is manifested. It is like this, that when it is switched on, LED indicator glows red, shows that the machine has started its operation, but still the machine doesn't start working. So this is some kind of product malfunction. So therefore, suitable action is required. So whenever we talk about some kind of problem or grievance, first the problem needs to be referred to in the introductory paragraph together with other specifics of date and purchase details and so on. Or if it's a service, then the date on which the service was engaged. Then further details regarding the problem or the nature of the problem, why it is unsatisfactory, that has to be given in the ensuing paragraph. This is very, very important. Let us proceed further. Now, of course, once the problem has been stated and once you have briefly also stated how the problem is inconveniencing you, the next part is the making of the claim. So what does that involve? Again, I'm reading from the sample that is provided over here. Keeping in view the nature of this problem and the inconvenience suffered by me, I would request you to kindly replace the defective vacuum cleaner with a properly functioning one. So this is the replacement claim. Very clearly, the customer is saying that replace the defective vacuum cleaner with a properly functioning one. Or in other words, substitute the defective cleaner for a fully functioning and operational one. There can also be an optional, way of writing, or the claim that is made may not just always be that of replacement. It can also be that of refund. So in that case, how does one write? Let's take a look at the sample which is provided over here. As the purchase of this defective water purifier is seriously inconveniencing our operations in office, I would request you to kindly appropriate your product and give us monetary compensation on the same amounting to the purchase price. We would request you to make this refund to us at the earliest opportunity. So what is the subject of this second letter? Obviously, it is a defective water purifier. Now, this defective water purifier has been purchased for some office and it is inconveniencing all the office goers or the members of that office, the employees. So the writer of this letter is asking for a financial compensation, monetary compensation on the same amounting to the purchase price. Or in other words, to take back the product and to refund the purchase price back to this customer, or rather the organization which has purchased this product. So we would request you to make this refund to us at the earliest opportunity. So asking for a refund. So I think a wish for replacement of the product would be more common than a refund. A refund may be asked about in an extreme case, but more often than not, it is replacement in which customers are more interested. So we can have, however, claim letters asking for either replacement or a refund. Whatever the case may be, it should be very clearly stated in the body of the letter and specifically how it is to be made, and also if there is a time interval during which it has to be made, that should also be stipulated over there. Now, the closing part of this letter, again, I'm reading out from the sample that is given. Considering the inconvenience suffered by me and keeping in mind the consistently good reputation for quality products you have in the market, I trust that you will accept my request for a vacuum cleaner of the same model to replace my defective product. Looking forward to your early reply. Sincerely yours, JC Mehta. So the customer at the ending of the letter is referring both to the inconvenience suffered by the customer as well as the company's good reputation. So this is an appeal to the company's good reputation so that the company listens to the plea of the customer or the request made by the customer. And of course, there is the leave taking and the complimentary clause at the end. So we have in the claim letter or the complaint letter, the customer's complaint regarding the unsatisfactory nature of the goods or services which have been purchased or hired. Specifics of these complaints are given, more details are given, and what action, follow-up action is required by the company, that is also stipulated by the customer in the complaint letter. Now, the complaint has been made and it depends upon the company as to how they are going to respond to this complaint. So the company's response to this complaint letter is going to come in the form of another letter, that is the adjustment letter. So the adjustment letter is written by the company on the company's behalf, rather by one employee of the company as a reply to the complaint letter. It is the company's reply to the customer's claim, and the company may or may not, please note this is important, accede to the customer's request. So there is no reason that the company will always accept what the customer is trying to say or will accept the customer's claim. But in any case, the settlement of the claim will be given or made once and for all in the adjustment letter. Now, there can be several reasons for writing the adjustment letter. For example, there can be delays in shipment or billing or calculation errors, goods of poor quality, defective or malfunctioning products, or mismatch in the quantities of goods, and so on. Now, the nature of the response given by the company would be either that of acceptance of the customer's claim or rejection of the customer's claim. Again, note that in order to sustain good relations between the customer and the company officials will be writing an extremely polite and formal letter. They would not like to break up the good relations with the customer by being in any way rude or discourteous in the letter that they write. So even if they are not accepting the customer's request, they will do so in an extremely polite way, showing the reasons why they are not able to accept the customer's request. So it may be an acceptance or it may be a rejection of the claim, and justification of that position, acceptance or rejection, is made together with the assessment of the validity of the claim made by the customer. Also, some documentary evidence might be provided. So this is the nature of the response that is given in the adjustment letter. Now, let us look at the parts of this adjustment letter. Now, here are some sample subject lines. Let us read. Response to claim for replacement of BPL Euroclean 1010 model vacuum cleaner. Regarding delay in shipment of 200 crates of Himachal apples J/PAK92, settlement of claim for cash refund against defective Riara washing machine. Or regarding complaint of excess billing of rupees 200 GN92/19. Now, the first one is talking about a replacement claim about the malfunctioning vacuum cleaner. Okay, claim for replacement, it's mentioned clearly in the subject line, the nature of the claim. The second one is about the delay in the shipment. And the third one is about a cash refund, which is being asked for in place of the defective washing machine. And the last one is regarding the complaint of excess billing. So it may not actually, the subject lines in all these cases may not actually be talking about, settlement of claims, or that phrase, in fact, may not always be used. But the reference to the claim will definitely be made, and quite specifically too. So you will notice 200 crates of Himachal apples together with the order number. So the reference to the claim is clearly made, and the exact documentary details like excess billing of rupees 200 and the number of that bill GN 92/9. So that's also given over there. So in the subject line, basically we indicate the nature of the claim that is made on behalf of the customer, the company, and to which the company is replying, together with certain specifics or documentary details. Now, the opening of this kind of adjustment letter, let me read the extract that is given. We acknowledge the receipt of your letter dated 12/7/2019, informing us regarding the delay in shipment of 200 crates of Himachal apples by purchase order number PCN 3034, and asking us to fulfill the order obligations as soon as possible. So this is a reference, or the letter we can say opens with a reference to the other letter, the complaint letter, which has spoken about the delay in the shipment of the 200 crates of Himachal apples. And the order number of the transaction, PCN 3034, is specifically given. So the acknowledgement, or the company's acknowledgement of the complaint which has been received, is given first and foremost in the opening part of this letter. Okay, what follows after that? So there are some details which are given after that in the second paragraph. So let me read that to you. We undertake to apologize for the problem and can understand the nature of the inconvenience suffered by you. There were, however, substantial reasons due to which this delay has occurred. The workers' strike, which took place in April and continued for 3 weeks, beg your pardon, let me read out the extract once again. We undertake to apologize for the problem and can understand the nature of the inconvenience suffered by you. There were, however, substantial reasons due to which this delay has occurred. The workers' strike, which took place in April and continued for 3 weeks, coupled with the torrential rains and flooding, which took place in June in the entire Himachal Pradesh, threw our entire operations out of gear. As a result, we were unable to meet any of our orders. Now, obviously, the letter then, after the introduction, talking about the acknowledgement of the complaint that has been made, talks about the reasons why this problem has taken place at all, or gives further details about this problem. Okay, so here there are reasons for this delay: a workers' strike which paralyzed operations, and also torrential rains and flooding which paralyzed all kinds of business movements in the state of Himachal Pradesh, obviously from where the shipment of apples was arriving. So therefore, they were unable to meet any orders. So the reasons for the delay are given. So in the opening of this letter, we have first the acknowledgement of the claim made by the letter of complaint, followed by some details of explanation about why the problem has taken place. Obviously, the company also expresses regret for the problem which has taken place and undertakes to say that this kind of problem obviously shall not take place again. Uh, in the body of this letter, then the letter goes on to talk about whether the claim shall be accepted or not. Now, let's read this extract to find out what is mentioned. Keeping in view the inconvenience suffered by you and the long-standing good relations between our companies, we have decided to accede to your request. So the request or the claim that has been made is being accepted over here. And also there's a reference to the good relations which have been there between the two companies for a very long time. So the order shall be dispatched within a week and should reach you within the next 10 days. In order to expedite the process, the dispatch shall be sent by air freight at no extra cost to you. So the letter goes on to talk about the compliance of the company with the request that has been made, and gives a timeline also, next 10 days. It also says that the process shall be expedited by an air delivery at no extra cost to the customer. So this is the company's way of, expediting the process, and also it's a gesture of goodwill to the long-standing customer. So this is the way in which the claim is accepted by the company. Now, there can also be an alternative way in which the claim is not accepted by the company. Let me read out from this other extract. Keeping in view the nature of your claim and the circumstances under which the damaged consignment of 200 Nagpur oranges was received by you, we feel that it is not possible for us to accede to your request for a full replace. The fruit was packaged by us in an original and intact condition, and mandatory quality checking was completed likewise before dispatching. The damage caused to the fruit, therefore, was probably suffered on the return journey. Our company norms clearly do not admit of any compensation to goods damaged in transit. Hence, we are unable to offer you any reparation for this loss. So, there are certain company norms which bind the companies to give replacement or refund or not. So here, the goods being damaged in transit, there will obviously not be any compensation that will be given. So the company is saying no, but that too in a very polite way. So the settlement of the claim, once again, by refusing the customer's claim. The conclusion of this letter: we earnestly hope that this problem shall not impede the continuance of good relations between our companies. In fact, we hope that our relations shall continue as before and that you will allow us opportunities in future to serve you. Sincerely yours, C. Gomes, Marketing Relations. So it stresses the continued good relations between the company, between two companies, as a matter of fact, and that they will continue to thrive and prosper in the years to come. So irrespective of whether the claim is settled in a positive way or not, the good relations between the companies shall continue. This is what the adjustment letter ends with. Now we shall take a look at the job application letter. Now, obviously, this is a letter written to apply for a post or position and written in response to a job posting. The purpose is to highlight the applicant's skills, qualifications, experience, suitability for the job, and to make a formal application for the job. The format is that of the official or formal letter with a CV or resume enclosed with it. Now the subject line. Let us look at some sample subject lines. Application for the post of trainee engineer maintenance at Tata Motors. Applying for the post of program assistant Libsys Systems. Applying for the post of production assistant Tech Labs. Application for the post of technical supervisor production division TIL. So this specifies the post applied for, which is that a trainee engineer, programming assistant, production assistant, technical supervisor, and so on. Also, it specifies the section and the organization, that is Tata Motors, Libsys Systems, Tech Labs, and so on. The Tractors India Limited, TIL. So the subject line talks about the post, the section, and the organization. The opening of this letter refers to the advertisement clearly. With reference to the advertisement published in Times of India, 4th July 2019 for the position of trainee engineer maintenance in TIL, I would like to apply for the same. So there's an advertisement of the post or the job posting and the place where it is appeared. Body of the letter highlighting the qualifications and skills. I'm a 21 years old BTech graduate in mechanical engineering from BIT Mesra and have done 3 months of industrial training at the SAIL Rourkela steel plant in the production division. I have sufficient exposure to industrial machinery and its operations and knowledge of both hardware and software and systems maintenance. I am additionally well versed in AutoCAD and skilled in engineering drawing and preparing blueprints. I'm willing to travel, to work long shifts, possess good interpersonal skills besides being a good communicator in English, Bengali, Hindi, and Korean. So various skill sets, knowledge of various languages, relevant exposure to both hardware, software, other skills, these are all talked about. The closing of this letter, given my qualifications, experience, and exposure, I hope to have demonstrated my suitability for the job. Kindly allow me an opportunity of serving you by giving me a chance to attend the interview round, hoping to hear from you soon. So the letter ends with a formal application for the post and asking for a chance to attend the interview. So this is how the job application letter would tend to close. Now, obviously, what is very important in writing these letters is the objectivity of approach and clarity of details and outlook in establishing all the facts. Also to follow the formatting guidelines that are given very carefully. Also to follow company norms and guidelines, especially regarding the settlement of claims in complaint and adjustment letters. Also achieving a kind of appropriate balance between the style and the subject matter. This is very, very important. Always remember that these kinds of letters are written for a specific audience, and the aim is to gain attention from a mass of other letters, plethora of other letters and emails from the other side. So you need to use attention grabbing tactics in a proper way. So this brings us to the end of this lecture, where we have talked about the other types of business letters, complaint and adjustment letters, and job application letters. Thank you.